Before I get into this video, I'm going to say that this is a heavy video containing discussions of child and not safe for work material, and then like manipulation and stuff, so I mean, be careful. I imagine that we've all heard of predators being on Roblox, and sadly there's another story about that. I'm going to be the developer, the Roblox developer I'm going to be talking about, who's been exposed for all kinds of stuff, is still posting, he's still working on a video game, and then if you go to his game, you can see that it's a game for kids, and the way they get you is that they get the kids to join their Discord server, which they take it into DMs and then do that. I know some people do that. I'm not sure if this guy is doing that, but I mean, that's a serious concern concerning some of the stuff he's said and done on Discord in the past in different fandoms, and the fact that he's on the server and he's currently working on the game is concerning. My sibling sent me the document, and I want to show this to you because I think this should be known. The developer Rox worked on Danny's World, and this says, this highlighted text that I want to bring up is why I'm talking about this. When Danny's World blew up, talking about what Rox did in any way was banned and labeled as misinformation and targeted harassment, while others just got banned for stating facts. And again, another thing that just really, to this day, Rox has never shared the video directly addressing what he did to his server, and it shows nobody in their community grasps the severity of what they did. So what did they do? In 2020 to 2021 time frame, there was a drama in certain Roblox game communities, especially Tower Heroes. The reason why I heard about this is that my sibling is in the Tower Heroes community, and it was being passed around there, and it seems that like it's not being passed around or being actively censored in the communities where this creator is currently helping the games, which is Flavor Frenzy and Dandy's World. Sorry, I don't remember the names to all these Roblox games because it's really not important what the Roblox games were. It's just what he did in the communities in these Roblox games. So I'm going to be talking about the 2 apology videos he made, or the 2 videos he did explaining, because even though the document says that he wasn't genuine, or he hasn't changed, or he's just not trustworthy, he sounded more genuinely sorry about it than Logan Paul, or that lady with the ukulele, you know what I'm talking about. He sounded more genuinely sorry than they did, so I have to give him credit for sounding genuinely sorry about what he did. So I'm going to play some of the clips. I'm going to show some of the stuff for the first document, because even though it's on a chronological order, because the videos and the documents, I don't know when the document was created, but it was created after the video, which was created in 2023. The drama happened 2020 and 2021. So
in the years of 2019 through 2020, however, was when I was a very immature person. I was very selfish, bossy, rude, and generally not a great person to be around in the server. The reason this was the case is because this was the first ever public server I'd been in. Before a public server, my only introduction to the internet was through sparse friend groups. To continue on, in 2020, I was promoted to be a moderator in the server, along with a couple other people at the time. From mid-2020 to late 2020, I also hosted a fan server for Data Brawl, which had its own community and fan game, Data Brawl Plus. And from that group, and also Slam Dunk Studios, many friend servers would emerge. And it's at this point where I have to explain the groomer accusation.
The groomer allegations were, basically, he was talking to a 13-year-old about what he wanted to do with a 15-year-old when he was around the age of 17. I believe it was the second document that had screenshots of these 2 this 13-year-old and this 15-year-old talking to each other. I think it was years afterward. It's all censored, but here it is. Actually, just look back a bit through the DMs I had with him just to verify some info I was writing, and yeah, it was bad. Honestly, a bit worse than I remember. Unhappy face. But sent by the other person. This was at 1 a.m. Sorry, just noticed that. He was obsessed with you 100%, and I think he also projected onto me. This was the previous 13-year-old speaking. Almost like so I could be his buddy and his obsession, so he wasn't alone in it. Just all of the whole thing, what he did, how I reacted, just makes me feel just disgusting and also disgusted by him. And I decided to look up Jake. Jake is also Raw's. Like they have like multiple usernames. The one day, this was over a year ago, just to see what he was up to, and you would not believe the surprise when I found out what he did. I'm not sure what to think about the whole situation. I think there's something you should know if you don't already, and I feel terrible for keeping it for you. You know how me and Jake used to talk a ton, yeah? During that whole time, like on a basis, he would like talk about you in a way I find really, really gross. Like this is with the 13-year-old to the 15-year-old. And honestly, because of that, I wasn't too surprised when I found out what he did. Can you tell me anything he said if you're comfortable with that? Because I've been trying to figure out if I'm on his side. I'll say that before I need to also confess another thing. Take your time. Being 13 at the time and him being 17, even though I honestly remember, was taken aback by how he spoke about you. I wasn't really sure what to do, but also there was this real dynamic where I felt like he was in a position of status in the server, and it was almost like an adult, so I kind of trusted his judgment at the time, and truthfully, I sometimes played along with his conversations and tried to like be cool with him. I blame it on my younger self for just not being mature enough to realize the gravity of things, and also I never like got to his level, I don't think, with the shit he said. But regardless, if I did play along with this stuff, even at the time, I felt wrong, but I just did it, and for that I'm so genuinely sorry. I guess I should elaborate now. Honestly, I think the kind of things he said about you are, one, gross, but two, honestly kind of weird for a 17-year-old to be telling a 13-year-old. Yeah, that's unhappy face. I'm really sorry for that. I'm gonna spoiler, but also, no, don't be sorry. If anything, I think you're the bigger victim in this, even if you weren't aware. Basically, what I mean is him talking really grossly about you. I don't want to make you any type of, if you're not comfortable, by the way, it's alright. Alright, you're fine with it, thank you. He would go pretty in depth about his fantasies involving you, telling me that he imagined you in a very compromising sexual situations with him. He would really kind of creepy and basically obsessive with how much he went into it. He would talk a lot about, oh, she's so cute, I bet she's so pretty, and etc. But like not in a complimenting way, almost in an objectifying way, almost treating you as his toy god. I know I said it before that I would play along with his convos and how it made me feel really gross, but he would like 100% encourage it when I did play along. Did he ever ask you if you were comfortable at first? And the 13-year-old said that he did not.
A few months after I joined Slam Dunk Studios in early 2019, I met someone, whom, for privacy reasons, I will refer to as Paige. Over the course of a few months, Paige and I became pretty close friends, and, after a little while, I had formed a crush on her. In the friends server that I owned, I met someone else. Once again, for the sake of privacy, I will refer to him as Tom. After about a month of playing games and hanging out, Tom had actually asked me if we could be in a relationship, which I said yes to, despite having a crush for Paige. For the next month after that, our conversations slowly morphed from playful banter to sexual conversations. Once again, for sake of context, at the time, I was 17, and Tom was about 15 to 16 years old, and Paige was about 15 years old. At the time, me and Tom were in a lot of friend groups from the community, a lot of which included NSFW channels, with which, I assume nowadays, has been removed because of the issue this created. What it all essentially boiled down to in my mind was that since my friends were doing it, it was okay for me to do it. Which is not the case anymore, and I know better now. Being fueled by both sides, the conversations got extremely personal and deep, to the point where we both agreed to perform NSFW acts on a Discord call. Let it be known that this was completely consensual by both of us. This does not make the behavior acceptable in any way. I'm just explaining that neither of us forced each other to do it. It was simply just a spur-of-the-moment thing that happened that night. About a couple weeks after that, I had received a message from Paige saying how they had considered thoughts of being in a relationship with me. Me, thinking in the moment, was blinded by the thought of being with my original crush, not considering the person I was already with, and I had completely dropped Tom in the process. This was incredibly disgusting on my part, and is in no way acceptable, and I deeply apologize to both of the people who were involved. I can't exactly remember the layout of certain events, due to how long it's been, but somewhere in the mix there was someone we will call Buddy. Buddy at the time was 13 years old, and also had a crush on Paige. Me and Buddy became friends after Paige introduced me to them, and Buddy and I began to talk to each other about Paige in the same vein that I was talking about with Tom.
Buddy was the 13-year-old and Paige was the 15-year-old, and what we just discussed of the screenshots I was just talking about was Buddy talking to Paige about stuff he said about Paige, which, as you read, was very messed up.
But some of the things mentioned by Buddy were blown way out of proportion in regards to what was actually said. For example, Buddy had mentioned that the way I said these things made it sound like I objectified Paige, when that couldn't be further from the truth. I cared a lot about Paige and her well-being. At the time, she meant a lot to me being my friend, and back then, I showed my appreciation to them in any way I could. It's just that in that point in history, I was unaware that my behavior was unacceptable and absolutely not the way to talk about others. So while I take the blame for talking about them in the way mentioned in Buddy's post to Paige, it was not to the proportions stated.
The first document that was talking about the audio from the video I was just playing said that Buddy was not playing it out to proportion and that what he was saying just in that clip was false. They provided in the document screenshots of what he said about Paige, which I will show. I jerk off to more things than just Paige, you know. Let me guess, Paige pussy juice. Okay, I'm gonna go take my shower and jerk the meaty keyboard spam. So I was about to ask you how many times you jerked off today already. Man, when I imagine Paige, I imagined her under my desk dying. He misspelled dying. I don't know if that was on purpose.
Fast forwarding to the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, I had decided to leave the Data Brawl community, both for out of guilt of what happened, and because I stopped enjoying being in the community. Shortly after that, I joined the Tower Heroes community, because I loved the game, and I wanted to make some contributions there, similar to the story of how I got into Data Brawl. For context, Tower Heroes is a tower defense game owned by Pixelbit Studio, and this is where I discuss the accusation of NSFW art. This section will be a bit shorter and more to the point than the events of Slam Dunk Studios, mostly because a lot of this occurred within a shorter time span. In early to mid 2021, I had become friends with a person who had recently been banned from the server, and I wanted to be their friend in a time of need. At this time, I had not changed much from the person I was from 2020, so I was still open to the idea of drawing NSFW content, and that's pretty much how me and them bonded. They had invited me to their friend group, which, as a whole, constantly drew and viewed pornographic and NSFW content. To fit in with their group, I joined in on their art drawing, which included the art which has been circulating around, including art depicting child characters, from which I assume the allegations of pedophilia are from. And I want to completely say that I do not support pedophilia, and never have supported it, and I never will. The reason the art was created was once again made to fit in with the friend group that also drew it. I am extremely sorry for partaking in that act, and it will not happen ever again. In late May of 2021, after saying I wanted to stop being friends with them due to them beginning to disrespect other friends of mine, they retaliated by leaking my art into Pixelbit Studios, a public server full of minors, none of which consented to seeing the art. None of the art that was leaked was ever meant to be public and was solely for this friend group.
At this point, I want to put in where I read somebody who came out saying they were 15 and were involved in this situation, and I'll show that. So I got this up on netter.net. My sibling uses knitter.net, which is basically just archiving everything said on Twitter or X, whatever. Because we neither of us have an X account, nor do we desire to make an X account, and we can see everything posted on Twitter from Knitter without having to make an account. So I am going to read all of this out loud. This is in 2021, so this is probably the Tower Heroes era while this Rox was in the Tower Heroes community, and he was talking to this apparently a 15 years old in 2021, where this is about this CP thing. In 2021, so I'm gonna read all of this. In 2021, when I was 15 years old, Rock Serpent, aka Box Boy Jankers, co-creator of Flavor Frenzy and a newly released Dandy's World, drew CP of me. And they're retweeting to the post about the Google Doc. I think this is the new Google Doc, because this is in June, this is 17 hours ago. So this is what's recently been coming out about him after his new game that he's been co-developing on blew up. Jakers did not just draw a CP featuring My Like Us once, but actually twice. Both pictures feature me and another person who I'm deliberately blurred from the cropped picture I managed to find from 3 years ago today, and very blatant not safe for work scenarios. The sequel to Blank X Scary no one asked for. It be known that I only known Jakers at this point in time when he started to make this foul shit. I mean, I'm just reading what it says. For 3 months at most, and the rest of Pixel Bit team, which is who created Tower Hero Studios. Tower Heroes, the studio that created Tower Heroes. The Pixel Bit team found out about everything else in July. All of us but one didn't know that Jakers was actively making pornography. The other person who was aware before all of us, even before I or the other person knew, was that there was sick fuck drawing CP of people he was in the voice chats with. That person was Quelver. Quell knew since April 2021 that Jakers was making pornography of Tower Heroes characters, and Quell is someone who is working with him on the games they're making together. And Quell said some stuff about them, like some positive stuff about them on Discord, about their announcements and stuff. And figureheads in the community like myself, and this was unfortunately something I learned about recently from people who had a voice chat in Pixelbit around the same time this was being made, in the Wolf Quell, where she had paraphrased being uncomfortable with her friend making weird drawings of people she knew. Those weird drawings were CP and of her own characters. She knew way beforehand that she was dealing with sick fuck, so why did she decide to double down and stick by a fucking PR nightmare? Truth be told, I have no clue why she decided to stick by him. I don't. I find it fucking abhorrent that she went through the hassle trying to rebuild his public image through this shitstorm that has been his entire online existence so far, just because how laughably bad it is. To our knowledge, at the time of this happening, Jakers was pushed to make this art to please someone. That someone being a Twitter artist who was banned from Pixelbit after the investigation led by me in 2020, where I discovered she was sharing her not safe for work art with kids in the server. That artist being Octotrooper, aka Emerald Kitty. Long story short, because I banned them for being a fucking creep and sharing pornography to minors, they decided to ruin my life. So all throughout 2021, I succumbed to the worst harassment campaigns I have ever experienced. Part of that harassment was having Octotrooper's degenerate friend group harass me non-stop and sending me and my friends all sorts of threats, tarnishing my reputation of other artists alike in Roblox communities, which brings me back to Jakers. In the time where Jakers met Octotrooper and joined the Pixelbit contributor team, he was 100% aware of the shit they were leading and decided to keep going. He is not the victim in this. He does not get to play a culpability card of, oh, they made me do it, I was just trying to please them, when he was really doing it to please himself and no one else. The man was a sex pest, and was when this happened. Octo's friend group ended up spamming his not safe for work in the Pixelbit server as a raid, which ended up being a fruitless endeavor other than alert the staff team and people concerned. This brings us to now. I had a mutual friendship with Will. We're close for 4 years, and was unfortunate to discover she had literally been lying to my face the whole time, which was 4 years, telling me how this guy changed and now he's normal. Quell knew damn well what the fuck she was doing and trusting that sick fuck to help make her games. No sane person would defend and go through great lengths to only hide the terrible past, but your lead developer would punish those who call it as well. She, however, isn't alone. It is generally frowned upon to blame or criticize people who are doing their jobs as staff or their server, but there is a genuinely sickening reality where people in power, the community, not only go against their own moral values to defend this sick fuck, but also ban people from the game for bringing up what he did, like some YouTubers, is petty and even more shameful. Fuck these bum-ass game devs and fuck this bum-ass game as well. The target audience for these Blood Crunch games are generally at risk having him around. I am also going to add this last note for the night, but it is to be refuted any form of written apology acceptance from me from one of his videos. That was the result of years more of the constant paranoia, finally let go in a message, not how I truly feel about it now. I had a long going on in my mind and accepted this empty word apology, and I want everything to be over for once. It finally did stop after that, but now I'm realizing that this was allowed to happen because some bozo couldn't stick up to a healthy moral code. It's definitely maddening and helped me reconsider everything I allowed to happen to myself by trying to help others. That was a lot. That went over the friend group he made those images for, Octo's Troopers friend group, who apparently did some nasty stuff and just sent that around. Apparently, I heard from my sibling that Octo Trooper raided the server after she got banned to try to repeal her ban, which included raiding the game itself and raiding the server, and probably other things that I don't know, but those were the two things that that I know that it had. And the raiding the server that he just talked about was affiliated with her trying to repeal her ban, which included her sending those images around that server. Some more things. Apparently, I think I did include where he talked about Tom. He was e-dating Tom before he left Tom for Paige, and apparently with Tom, apparently Tom gave the developer, the guy that we're talking about this entire time, Soft or Zora, I forgot, gave him nudes, and then he broke up 2 weeks after that. So that's what happened with Tom. And then before Tom, some guy that he liked, he had a crush on them. They wanted to date someone else, and he made this: to think that I liked you only for you to hint that you don't like me at all. I should have known better anyway. It's apparent that you didn't like me. That's fine, but you did the truth at the start rather than letting me figure out myself. That's fine. You can go hang out with your little person that this person was dating. That wasn't Tom or Paige. It was a completely new person. I won't mind at all. I get it, you like that, fantastic. So that was just some more about him harassing people in the server. I think that was before he got banned from the first fandom he was in, the fandom before Tower Heroes he got banned from. I think he did that then. This timeline goes over it. So basically, this breaks it down in a way that's very easy to understand. He joined Data Brawl, which is the first fandom. I'm sorry, I forgot about what the name of Data Brawl was. I don't care about it, I'm sorry. He got involved with the fandom, and so at first it was Anon, the Anon person are dating someone else, and that was what that comic was about. And then he would interact with Buddy and Paige, which I already talked about. And then he would get with Tom. He would break up for Tom with Paige. He would leave the Data Brawl. And then he joins Tower Heroes. In Tower Heroes, he does the drawing child porn thing. And then he gets out of that fandom after it gets leaked. Also, in the second document, also, there was some screenshots of some of the stuff he said in Tower Heroes, which was pretty bad, but I'm going to leave that I'm going to leave the document that's in the description instead of going over all of it. So I'm finally going to, show clips from the second video he made.
There is a line in the document that states that some of the screenshots linked in the doc were sent to me that I refused to show in the video due to their subject material. This is not true at all. I had never received those messages from the mods, and everything I received was shown in the video. As you can see in the screenshot, my friend said he would send me more because it was a ton of material, but he never did end up sending me this, as everything was so hasty and muddled from the sudden ban from the server I was in. Even if I did have access to these screenshots, I would have put them in anyway, or put them in a document of some sort in the description. Again, in regards to the context of the screenshot, I am really sorry for the things I've said in those. I will never say anything like this to someone online ever again. Back to the topic of the server I was recently banned from, the one where I was banned because of the screenshots involving Paige and Buddy, the moderators also refused to talk to me about the situation and explain my side at all. Instead, they shadow banned me from the server in saying in their mod chat that they did hear me out when it's just not true. I was not put into a VC with them, or a group DM, nor did any other mod contact me. I was stuck telephoning from my friend to them about the screenshots, rather than being able to sit down and have a conversation with them to sort things out. I'm not upset about the ban. It is justified, after all, for the context. But the fact that they refused to talk to me at all, saying that I couldn't change, and that they did hear what I said, is just absolutely upsetting. At the end of the document, the people who created it claimed that I have not changed from the events of the situation, and that's just not true either. I have yet to see any claims from around 2022 to 2023 that have proof that I did not change from who I was, nor has any proof been put in the document itself at the end.
The stuff about the moderators not hearing him out, and then the moderator saying that he couldn't change in the server that they banned him in, was disputed by the document made about that video, that the audio I just played from. So I'm gonna read from the document about the claim that the moderators didn't hear him out. This claim is extremely dumb because Rox debunked it himself immediately after saying it. The moderators did hear them out. As he said, he was telephoning through his friend about the situation, and you can clearly see Rox's friend speaking for him in the screenshot he provided. Yes, they did not talk to him directly, but saying that they didn't hear him out is a blatant lie. And then about the moderator saying that he couldn't change was disputed as well. It says that they never said that. You can see in the screenshot that he put in the video that that's not true. The moderator said given what you've done, they cannot trust that you've changed. Even if you did, they don't want to risk it. And Quell, who I believe was talked about in the Twitter screenshots, has been defending Roz in their Discord server. I think it was the Discord server about either Danny's Word or Favorite Frenzy, but they posted about how he was only 17 at the time, and it was made to bring down the success of their Danny's World game and the whatnot. And I think it was that one of them forgave them, which isn't true. I believe that neither of Paige or Buddy actually forgave him, as was said. In the second document, they showed a screenshot from Paige where they said that they didn't really forgive him for what he said. I believe Quell and the Rox are just planning to move on with their current games without ever mentioning this ever again, and not addressing it publicly to their new fan base. They feign ignorance, then they're giving him a second chance or whatever. The document states that he lied in his videos, which you can see how he somewhat did in the videos, and that nobody else would really know what happened without the docs. So that's why I'm making this, is because that's the only information is from Quell, him, and the docs, and I think there should be more about that. And then they were banning people from making a video where they just talk about what was going on, and it's just been a lot of banning and trying to move on, I guess, but the second doc about him came out in June of this year, and then the 17 hours ago again was the confession about that one guy. So hopefully that I can help spread this doc around, and hopefully he doesn't, you know, it doesn't happen again. And like, because in both of the Roblox communities he's been in, there's always been something weird happening, and I don't think anybody wants that to happen again. So yeah, go ahead and read the documents. Have a good day, and I hopefully will make a video like this again. See you later in the next speed bait.